Gamer here, and welcome back to the stream. And in this video, it's just plain and simple. I'll be unlocking fast travel and finishing up tombs and finishing up question mark areas. So enjoy the stream. That's all this is.
Sandstorm coming. Whoa. Whoa. Yeah. Whoa.
Let's take a look.
Army the winds of trade come. Agreed. Done. Useful. Done. Agreed. Useful. Agreed. Copy. Greetings. What is it you need? Are you short supplies, friend? Kemet shelter you well. Greetings. What is it you need? Glad to be of service. Whoa.
Halt! Stay there!
This place is heavily guarded.
What? Nice one. Hey, what? Shame your mother ever spread her leg! You won't outrun me! You are! Want to escape that way, don't brain for? There you are! You get hit with the idiot stick. Drop it. Put an arrow in the stupid bastard. Mine now! To kill you for that! Hey! Takimo! Hurry!
I should investigate this. Oh. Yeah. Whoa. 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 Ha! Whoa. Yeah. Whoa. 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 Yeah. Whoa.
There's no escape! Cannot escape! Not going anywhere!
I should not be seen in this area. Whoa. Whoa. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. The Great Sphinx. It is smaller than I expected. A hidden entrance. How long has this been here? dead end. It does not make sense. But there must be a way forward. What is this?
Retransmission, Segment 6, acquiring contemporaneity. It has been 109 days since the Great Catastrophe. The messenger speaks.
That wind will raise the suns. Whoa. Yeah. Yeah. Wind is picking up. Not good. Whoa. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah.
Hey!
That wind. Sandstorm coming. Whoa.
And now!
Hey!
and richer. Our fire, our home, is now a place where the will not even serve Egyptians. Greeks grow fatter and richer in Egypt, while we go hungry. The poor attack more than
Block the way!
Whoa.
In Hebrew. Perset. Ah, here,
Whoa.
where, best where?
Shem eni nisu.
Whoa.
Stop right there.
They will attack on sight here.
There is no grain. They have burned our farms and driven us out. Where will we get our food?
Stop!
We know what Greek prosperity means. Famine for...
Hello, friend. Come to trade? Done.
Our home is now a place where there are Greek only stores.
Is fair.
I can gather that will not even serve each chance. Prosperity for all, this is. Well, where are the benefits? Peace of mind. It is all with the Greeks. It is not for Egyptians.
Agreed.
The new laws are made by Greeks for Greeks. Prosperity for all? There is no grain. They have burned our farms and driven us out. Where will we get our food? We know what Greek prosperity means. Famine for Egypt. Greeks grow fatter and richer in Egypt, while we go hungry.
Greetings. Can I help you?
Why is this happening? This is our home. Egypt belongs to us.
Done.
Prosperity
A pleasure.
for all.
Best not to draw attention here.
shot that? To me! Hurry! Alarm! Over here! Hey!
Thank you, friend. Die, idiot!
Afraid I must borrow this.
Something's wrong. Hey! You there! Stop! Allow me! There you are.
The god love a generous soul.
Da amaho sejeri. Let's sejam.
هي هنا ريدت كوين
Veni erfuto. Leggero teppi. Niju agenta a. Da adverti. Si ha in cui.
Hey, you! Stop!
I should be cautious around here.
Alarm! To me, hurry! There. Hey, hold on! Like trouble. Time to die, filthy. Trouble here! Come on! Too close for my liking. That will cost you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't use Windows 10, so I don't even know why you would say that, but whatever. Nah, I have a desktop and my specs are up in the corner, so it's about as far as it goes. What's platinum? I don't know what platinum is. Got an achievement. Trophy for what? You're talking about the PS4? This is the PC version. Or I should say an Xbox or a PS4 only have trophies. At least. You're talking about achievements or trophies? There's a lot of question marks on this. No, I'm not doing achievements right now. I just get them when they come up. There are specific achievements that I'm in the process of getting. Like one is for, I think, sell 100 trinkets at once, and I think I got like 86 or something right now, so I still need like 15 or 14 more. That one I'm gonna do simply because it's a pain to collect them all. If I had just collected them all to begin with and did them, I would have already had it, but I didn't realize it was an achievement until I was scrolling through the list. Right now I'm just getting as the title of this says, I'm unlocking fast travel locations, finishing tombs, and doing question marks. Then I'm going to wind up going through and getting all the side quests. I'm just going to fill my log up and then just go do them all. Because by that time... Yeah, I know.
Hey!
I hate guards. I literally just can't stand guards in this game. They're really friggin' annoying.
Hey!
I gotta get him.
Die!
Where did he go? Oh, shit. Probably gonna get killed. Oh, shit. Couldn't get him. I seriously hate guards in this game. I basically make it a point to go on a killing spree for any guards that are in my way. I don't care where they are. Like, I'll attack them right on the middle of the road. I cannot stand guards in this game.
Mine now! Which was the goat? Your mother or your father?
I purposely let myself get killed because I'm not gonna sit and friggin' deal with a whole horde of shielded guys. No, I don't. It's annoying. No, I don't. It's really annoying. I do? Alright.
Halt!
Me. I have to get this at nighttime. If I was going for achievements, I would have had every ability in my tree picked off, but I'm not because I'm playing on Nightmare.
The guards here are vigilant.
Hang on. That's it. Die. There. For you.
Take her.
Cheru.
Kemer wen nesu. Ani.
I will return it later.
At, snedjen. Redet iwa at.
Hey, what? You will perish! I must be careful now.
What?
Ancient writing. Whoa. Whoa.
Get out of...
Sneeuw, Julian?
They will attack on sight here.
Παύλε, αμελή άνθρωπε, πού κοράμ, δίνεσαι.
They've shown the need for greater security.
Πας άνθρωπος, φάλετε.
De goeie.
Geroes en aswerien.
Wait a minute. Guys. Wait a second! Rip you to shreds!
Thank you. Wait a minute.
Hey!
Hang on. Hey! You're finished.
Wait a minute.
Get out of options.
Aha! There!
Hey, what?
What? Damn it! I'll kill you. Hey now!
Hey!
Has come.
You face the boatman this day. Got you! Hey!
Whoa. Whoa.
Hey! Hold on! Die, idiot!
After I get this tomb down here, I'm gonna take a break, so I'll be back on a little later. I gotta eat and stuff.
Whoa. Whoa.
Give me time to get clear! My Abend. Harley's down!
Yalla.
Get out of the way!
The nap safe.
Hey, hold on!
Eat
The
this!
Harry! Protect the Harry!
Whoa. Yeah. Whoa. around with it. Sandstorm coming.
I use a 360 controller. Well, I have an Xbox One controller, but the wire's broken, so I can't use it right now. I gotta get a new one. After this tomb, I'm gonna take a break, because like I said, I gotta eat and stuff. I'll be back on after, though. I'm gonna take a break for like an hour or so. Well, what's funny is that the console games are actually easier to make because they already have the specs for them, so they're programmed automatically. So they know exactly what they can and can't do, so they have their limitations already set in front of them. That's why console games are actually easier to program and make. But when you're talking about a PC, it's totally different. However, that doesn't change the fact that plugging a controller into the PC basically gives you a 10 times better console is what it basically does, because you can always upgrade, you know, you can always upgrade your PC and stuff like that. But that doesn't change the fact that games are programmed to a specific point where it doesn't matter how good your hardware is, a game can only perform so well. So even if you have better than optimal hardware, it's not going to matter. It's actually a waste to have it, because if a game can only do up to X and you have hardware that can do Z, it's not going to matter. You're going to be missing Y and Z on your hardware components for that game, because the game can't do anything with Y and Z. That's why I always get a kick out of people who basically have really good computers, and they say, well, my computer should be doing this, my computer should be doing that. Yeah, it should be, but unless the game itself is programmed like that, it's not going to matter. Fire is so good in this game. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a preference, but if you really take apart, like, there's this whole, I don't understand it, there's this whole internet war about, well, this console is better than that, and if you actually take the specs and compare them to each other, they're literally identical. Just one plays Blu-ray games, you know, and has better, you know, I don't want to say better, but one plays Sony exclusive games, the other plays Microsoft exclusive and licensed games. One console isn't better than the other. They're literally identically the same. It's the different name for the same exact processor and stuff like that, so it only appears as though it has different aspects, but it really doesn't. Because instead of taking internet like information and comparing it to each other, well, look at the specs on this. Yeah, that's specs that somebody bent toward how they wanted their viewpoint to go. But if you actually just take a look at them as a whole without any interference with it, you will compare the two of them. You will find out that processing, you know, I have an i7, and, you know, an i7 is an i7. Granted, some i7s process speed faster than others, but that doesn't change the fact that it's an i7 as a whole. How it processes power, how it processes things doesn't really alter what it is. Yeah, but that doesn't mean the system's better or others. That just, both of them can, my point is, both of them can stream. So one using a card or another, whatever. That's like saying a AAA. This game can be purchased through Steam, which is pointless. People will, I don't have any problems with it. It doesn't matter whether you have problems with it. It's just an unnecessary step. But in reality, I guess that's how Xbox or whatever it is chose to do it. So it's not that one is better than the other, because they both, in the end, wind up doing the exact same thing. So streaming is streaming. How it's done doesn't really matter. If it's streamed, then it doesn't. Then that's it. That's the point. It's streamed. Some make it. I will say that people will go with usually what's easier. That's not. There's no way around that. But that doesn't change in the end that both of them can stream. But like I said, I mean, it's just logically there's some stuff that doesn't make any sense. Like, if they have the technology to do that, why would they make it harder to do? And that's the same thing as, you know, trying to explain to Steam users, because I don't use Steam, it's trying to explain to Steam users that it's literally pointless to get a AAA game that already has its own launcher through Steam, because all you basically done is, it's the equivalency of putting a donut on a car and then saying, oh, you know, bringing it to a mechanic. And the mechanic asking you, well, why'd you do it? Oh, I just like having donuts on my car. It doesn't change the fact that it's pointless. It's literally an unnecessary step, because Steam users don't realize, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say Steam user, because there's a difference between a Steam user and someone that uses Steam. But that doesn't change the fact that it can stream. So what my point is, not to be rude, that comment's irrelevant. It's totally irrelevant, because in the end, if they get it to stream, it doesn't matter how they did it. It may be more steps. I agree with you that it's unnecessary, because if Microsoft has all this technology, why are they making it harder? You know, why are they making it like that? But we can what if that to death. We can what if that all we want. That's not going to change the fact that, guess what? You can still stream with it. And here's the thing, somebody's like, well, it's not meant, I mean, you can take your comment and say, well, Xbox is not meant to stream. That's not actually an accurate comment either, because that's another thing people say. It's like, that's not meant to do that. If it's not meant to do it, you wouldn't even be able to do it regardless of how you set it up. You would be prevented from doing it. That's my point that I'm making. And so, the fact that you can do it negates the statement, well, it's not meant to do that. That's like saying games on PC are not meant to have a controller. A game that's not meant to have a controller will not have a controller configuration programmed into the game. You'll have to, but that doesn't mean you can't use a controller with it. That just means it wasn't meant to be used with a controller. It's like Blizzard games. They're not meant to be used with a controller, even though you can set it up to do that. But when it comes to streaming, Xbox can stream because it's set up to do that already. So they're just manipulating how it's being streamed, because you can stream your Xbox you can stream it through your computer or your TV or vice versa. You absolutely can do that. So it is set up to stream. So to say it's not meant to stream is not true. Just what it's meant to be streamed through is what I think people are trying to say. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's the real issue with all these internet comments and things like that. And it's like another thing is like the frames per second. Like I get 120 FPS. No, actually you don't. No game gets 120 FPS. Your program may say you're getting 120, but that's what it's programmed to say. It's programmed to say whatever it says. But it doesn't change the fact that you can only go so far. It's like your car speedometer. Your car speedometer says it can go 160, but you can't go 160 unless the car's built to do that. Just because it says it does, it doesn't mean it can or it will. So, like, all games are basically locked to 30 or 60 frames per second, and I use StarCraft 2 is the prime example for that, because what happened when Blizzard made that game, they forgot to lock the cinema cut frame rates to 60 frames per second. And what wound up happening is people who had high-end graphics cards, the game was the cinema cuts were causing their cards to literally catch on fire. And I don't mean like that as a figure of speech. Their cards literally burst into flames because it was running so fast and with an unlimited frame rate, the computer couldn't handle it. So that's why games are locked at a frame rate. So it doesn't really matter what your computer says or what a program says on screen or what it displays. The game is locked to a specific frames per second. And so, you know, I shouldn't say that you can't do it, but it's not wise because some idiot can burn their card out. And so, like I said, when you're running anything more than, you know, even 65 frames per second, it runs your graphics card extremely hot. And so, well, that was pointless. And so what winds up happening is, you know, people are like, oh, I got 120. Even, let's say for example, you could get that. What's the point? Your eye can only see a very specific amount anyway, and it's higher than 60 frames per second at 40 frames per second. They've already done the testing on that where they're proving that it's done higher. But the point is that people bragging about how things are, it's just ridiculous. I know, right? Well, I mean, that's like saying anything can catch your house on fire. I mean, hell, if I leave the stove on and, you know, if you have a cat or a dog or something and knock some paper towels or something on it, then yeah, you can friggin' have a problem. I mean, anything can be said with that. But yeah, I know what you mean. But that's the reality behind all this stuff. People just they don't understand how things work, and they read places, you know, such as Geek.net and wherever all these places are, and because people hold those places in high regard, those places can do no wrong. I compare all of these third-party sites like this that discuss stuff to the Nexus, the place that people get mods from. The Nexus can't even keep its own rules straight. You know, they want people to sponsor them, you know, and then what happens is they tell you no swearing, but yet the entire site has nude mods in it. You're not supposed to have any inappropriate topics, but yet the entire site has, you know, inappropriately graphical mods on them, which contradicts their whole ruling in the first place. And then it's like when people donate stuff, they ban them for doing that, and then they basically get free. That's basically stealing. I'm surprised they haven't got caught doing that. So it's like, it's ridiculous how all these third-party sites are. I mean, I was putting up, for information purposes, for 2 years, I had been basically saying what was causing a lot of Elder Scrolls problems in games with graphics and things like that. And I got sworn at, I got told I was a troll and everything else. Well, out of nowhere, after 2 years later of, you know, having my stuff removed from the Steam forum and people attacking me and everything else, literally almost word for word what I said showed up on the Nexus, and all of a sudden, because it was on the Nexus, oh, I guess that's the way it works now. I went back in the forum, I says, this is all the stuff that I had been saying that everybody was, you know, why these games are having a, you know, why Skyrim and everything else is having a problem, and all of a sudden now, because it's on the Nexus, after all of this time of you telling me I'm trolling and I don't know what I'm talking about and everything else, all of a sudden it shows up on the Nexus, and now it's legitimate? No, I know, but my point was that my whole explanation for that was to prove a point on why third-party sites should never be taken at face value at all, because a lot of the information on them is either incorrect or it's not complete. I'm not saying that the sites aren't a good place for some information, but when you have a site or whatever it is, you know, people on the site giving misinformation to millions of people, there's no reasoning with anybody that's gotten all this misinformation, because they're just going to tell you you're wrong because they hold the site in high regard. I mean, I had actually a bunch of people tell me, you're going to tell me 1 million people are wrong? And I said, well, if 1 million people are going to this one place that everybody holds in high regard, and the place that they're going has incorrect information or missing information or doesn't explain everything, then yes, 1 million people are wrong because 1 million people are all getting the same information, which is incorrect. So yes, that would make 1 million people wrong. And unfortunately, the internet has no logic when it comes to that, because anybody in their right mind would say, well, yeah, if the information's wrong, instead of, people will just automatically say you are wrong without putting any explanation up whatsoever. And it's like when people start discussing games, you'll notice that they say, well, I don't like this game, it sucks. Okay, why does it suck? Well, I don't like the combat system, it sucks. That's not an answer. To them, that's an answer because they're saying what in the game sucks, but they're not saying what about it sucks. Like, what about the combat system don't you like? The way you hold the gun? You know what I mean? There's these little intricate details because a generic answer doesn't explain what's wrong with something, and people use generic answers to cover their ass. And then when they either realize that they didn't put the information up that actually backs up what they're saying, they realize that they open their mouth wrong, and instead of actually answering it, they'll call you a troll, put you on ignore, or do whatever. You know what I mean? It's their way of getting around having to actually. They can't. First of all, people can't be wrong, and then they can't be wrong about being wrong. So that's the main problem. And the internet has a backwards mentality anyway. It's one of the main reasons I'm actually going to explain this in a video that I'm going to put on my channel on why I don't have chat moderators in my streams. Why I don't use Mootbot. There's a reason why I don't do that. And I think anybody that uses those shouldn't be allowed to stream at all. I don't. Mootbot, M-O-O-T, or a Nightbot, what it's officially known as. Basically what it is it's an automatic chat moderator for people using, you know, for people who don't want, you know, it's basically it's a chat babysitter is what it is. So like I said, I'm going to be putting up an entire explanation on why anybody that uses those shouldn't be allowed to stream at all. It's ridiculous. Because you'll notice that a lot of problems it's not just on chats, and it's not just on forums, not just on game forum, it's every place. The internet has a backwards mentality where they only want to look at what's happening. They don't look at the reason why something's happening, and why something's happening is a major problem, because without the person causing something to happen, what is happening wouldn't be happening, and nobody ever wants to look at that. So for example, like if somebody has a problem with somebody on another website and they find them on another website and they're discussing something, what that person will do is they will go into another site, they will purposely search Google for anything that this person said or where this person was called a troll or whatever it is, and bring it into the other site, which is actually against the site rules, because the only reason for doing that is to cause a problem with the person. So causing a problem with the person means you shouldn't be allowed to be posting on the site. But what happens is somebody will do that, and instead of anybody looking at the person was provoking the person, what will happen is the person that provokes the person that replies to the person that was provoking them is the one that gets screwed, because the internet has a backwards mentality, when in reality the person that replied to the person wouldn't have replied to the person if the person that posted the links to wherever they did from Google wasn't posting on there, or was removed, or wasn't allowed to be on the site. That's the point. So everyone's like, well, you know, it's your fault we're replying. So basically what they're saying is, which in itself is a major issue, because and if you can't look at, hold on a second, if you can't look at the fact that somebody, you're basically telling somebody that it's okay for they have to roll over and be stomped on or talked to like that. Nobody in their right mind is ever going to allow that at all. Anybody who thinks that that is okay shouldn't be running forums. They just shouldn't. There's no oversight on any of this shit. So what happens is there's a problem with the way sites are run because there's no oversight on them. That's my point. Mods cause more problems on sites than the members do. It's a base fact. If you go look at, like, mods, like, for example, I got into a heated debate with a friend of mine because a friend of mine refused to look at the issue that was caused by the site administrator. He said, well, the site administrator, I'm like, dude, that's not the point. He totally ignores, and this is what I'm saying. And people like, he says, well, people shouldn't have to tolerate putting up with you. I says, well, I shouldn't have to be told I have to be spoken to like that. It's because it's their site. If people are going to talk to somebody a certain way, then you have no business complaining you're being talked to like that. It really is that simple. So, for example, one of the things that I was talking to a friend of mine about was I had basically did a Google search or something. I was looking for something in a game. And what wound up happening was I found this 10-year-old thread that was on a forum that was still open. So what I did was I posted, because it was relevant to what I was looking for. So I posted a comment in there, a question. And a day later, I had the administrator on there saying, well, you shouldn't be posting this, and this is an old thread, it shouldn't be revived. So I basically told the administrator to go fuck himself, because the point is that if you're not supposed to be posting in a thread, then lock the thread so nobody can make a reply in it, period. That's the site administrator's responsibility. Now, it would be one thing if a site administrator came in and said, hey, look, I apologize for leaving this open. That's my fault. I really don't want these topics being posted in. I will lock it now, but I do apologize for leaving this open. This isn't your fault. That would be one thing. But when they come in with these anything, if you don't, my point is any situation like that where you are not where somebody is not apologized to for doing that, it's an automatic instigation. That's what it is. They're instigating an issue with somebody. It's like, well, you shouldn't be posting in this thread. No, you shouldn't have left the thread open for me to post into, you moron. And that's the point, because it's like you're going to be, these comments are just disguised to make it look like they're not causing problems. But what happens is, if you actually look at the way the structure of the issue itself is, you'll realize that the problem is actually coming from the administrator or the moderator. And that's the thing that people refuse to look at. It's the backwards mentality of the internet. You know what I mean? Because who the hell are you to tell me not to post something on your site when you're the dumbass that left it open? And like I said, it would be one thing if you said, hey, I'm really sorry, I shouldn't have left this open. That was my mistake. I have to lock this now because I really don't want anything open on my site. That would be one thing. But for to come in and say, you shouldn't be, this is a 10-year-old thread, you shouldn't be posting in it. Fuck that. No, you shouldn't have let the damn thread open, you fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Because you're blaming me for leaving your thread open, and my friend failed to get that. He goes, well, how else are you supposed to tell somebody? And the point is that he totally ignored the fact that the site administrator is the 100% person at fault. If the site administrator is going to come in and say rude comments like that, you have every right to say something back. But to say that the site administrator, can say something to you like that without you saying anything back is fucking idiotic. Absolutely idiotic. So yeah, my whole point is that when you're dealing with the reason I don't use Mootbot, Nightbot moderators in my chat is because you are responsible for your own chat. You have absolute control over what you see in your own chat. You can literally place a person on the chat on ignore, so you don't have to read what they say. You don't need a babysitter, and on top of that, somebody's like, well, what about links? Let me ask you a question. Do you open up emails that from people you don't recognize? It's the same thing. You have your own, you are responsible for yourself. Nobody else is responsible for what you do. Well, that prevents people from clicking on a link. Well, sorry, but you can't apply. You wouldn't click on a link in your email, but you would click on it in a chat. It doesn't work like that. You either click on a link or you don't. There's no, you know what I mean? There's no, it's like the blame shifting. It's ridiculous. The blame shifting in this is absolutely ridiculous. And people try to feel justified in doing it. No, if you wouldn't open a link in your email, there's really no difference at all than opening it inside your, inside a chat. You can choose to click on it. blaming somebody because you clicked on it. Well, I would have clicked on it if it wasn't there. Alright, so basically that means every single email is that person's fault as well that you open up. You can't block them in chat. You need, there's a third-party program, I think. You either have to program it specifically to block those people, because that's another issue. Another problem that friggin' goes on forums and games and shit is that what will happen is the moderator will get rid of the person and then proceed to bash the person that they blocked. And the moderator's at fault for that because you're now basically attacking somebody. You're basically got rid of somebody for you're doing what you just got rid of somebody. You're doing what you just said is not allowed, and then you now proceed to break the rules further by bashing someone who can't defend themselves. You know what I mean? So that's the real problem with chats and moderators and stuff like that. I don't care if two people are arguing. That is not a reason to remove somebody from the chat. Now, people say, well, that's disruptive. Wrong. You can place somebody on ignore in your own chat. So guess what? You don't even see what's going on. So the only people that are disrupting anything is yourself. People like, well, that's not the mentality to have. Yeah, actually it is, because you're basically shifting blame onto other people for what you only have control over. So, like I said, I mean, you and somebody else could be swearing in my stream. And guess what? I don't care. Do you know why? Because if I don't want to pay attention to it, I can just block you. I'm not going to remove you from the stream. That's basically telling you don't have a right to talk. And if other people are bothered by it, oh well, block you. It's just that simple. That is what the block function is for. See, so that's why in games, when you have a way to make your games private, and in chats, when there is a block or ignore feature, it negates the whole reasoning for having a moderator. If there was no function of ignore or anything else, that would be one thing. But the fact of the matter is, you can point blank ignore somebody. You are your own moderator. Why the fuck do you need somebody to tell somebody not to talk to somebody? Just block them. It's done. You know what I mean? Well, see, that's another thing I disagree with. If you're streaming in that should be a bannable offense. Banning somebody for not talking in a specific language needs to be, the person who put that up there needs to be banned for actually posting that. So, because you don't have a right to tell somebody how to talk. Telling somebody what they need to speak in needs to be a bannable offense. They shouldn't be allowed to stream. Or what they should do is they should put up at least a header that says, hey, listen, this is an English only chat, so if you're talking in another language, I'm not going to be able to reply to you. Yeah, my point is that mods setting that up need to have their mod privileges revoked for setting that up. That is literally racist. That's literally singling people out. It's discrimination. That is literally what the definition of cyber discrimination is. It's singling people out on a specific target under, I can't remember the exact definition, but that's about it. So anyway, listen, I babbled enough. I'm going to actually head off here for now. And I will, oh, I got to kill this animal first. Let me kill this animal real fast. But after I kill this animal, I know I said I was going to do it after the tomb, but after I kill this animal, I'm going to head off. I literally have to get something to eat. I only had coffee this morning, so... I don't think I should have went down here. Oops. There's no point in reporting anything on YouTube at all. It's pointless. Because the YouTube itself already has a problem. And it's funny because I've watched people go to these conferences for YouTube to ask YouTube what they're going to do about it, and they never actually address the actual issue. What somebody needs to go to these conferences and say, and I'll get to my point in a minute, what somebody needs to go to these conferences and say is, listen, you have a friggin' problem with your system. You need to remove this system because it's basically it's the content ID claim system. That's why reporting people is pointless, because people are false reporting something, and even though YouTube has it in there that it's basically a felony to fraudulently, report somebody, there's been proof of fraudulent reports, and YouTube does nothing about it. So the point is that YouTube needs to be, it won't do any good anyway because it's YouTube, it's Google's site. They can do whatever the fuck that they want. But the fact of the matter is, there's nobody in existence who's gone to these conferences. Somebody literally needs to go into YouTube with a video camera, like a phone or whatever it is, and basically confront YouTube, anybody who's running this, and say, you have a problem. You have people fraudulently doing this. Fraudulent reports are against the law. You're not even doing anything about the fraudulent reports. It's proven they're fraudulent reports. And then proceed to pull up at least 9 different specific content ID claims that shouldn't have happened in the first place, and or being upheld right on video at the time. I mean, it's not going to do anything, but at least it'll expose YouTube for doing something. Now, what that's going to accomplish, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, nobody's gone in and actually said, shut this crap off, knock this crap off, stop this conference, and enough is enough. You guys have a problem with your system. Here is the problem, and don't say it's being worked on. Okay, don't say this. If you cannot have a proper system in there, if you can't handle a proper system or it's too big, then don't have the system. It's that simple. So it's like, if people want to, people should not be allowed to claim something at all. Like the content ID claim system in YouTube needs to go. Period. It's done. It's that simple. It needs to end because it's a broken system. It's been proven it's a broken system. YouTube knows it's broken and refuses to do anything about it at all. And the thing here is, again, if you look up any conference videos or anything else where people have gone to these conferences, you will find that none of them have addressed the actual issue. None of them have actually shut these people up in the middle of them talking and says, no, you need to deal with this. And that's a serious problem. If you're having a conference about to deal with the problem and nobody's addressing the problem at the conference that it's set up to do, that's a problem. So, I don't know. Yeah, oh yeah, that was another thing. That's one thing, that's actually what I was going to bring up about the Content ID claim system. Alright, the Content ID claim system has literally, people have made copyright claims. Like, the Content ID claim system has copyright struck people's own music. Like, there are people who said, I own this music, I wrote it, and YouTube is copyright claiming my own music. That's ludicrous. How can the Content ID, that proves that the Content ID claim system is totally broken. Because you have people, and that's also a false claim, and it proves that YouTube's not doing anything about the false claims either. If you own a piece of music, the YouTube Content ID claim system cannot, should not, ever put a claim on your own music. And then, when you prove it's your own music, YouTube does nothing to the person that did the claim. That is a problem. And here's another thing. If you're live streaming on YouTube and you play any music in the background of it at all, it'll be blocked worldwide. Nobody will be able to watch it. So if you're ever live streaming a video on YouTube and you don't want anybody to watch it, but you just want to be able to live stream, just play music in the background. It'll be blocked worldwide. Nobody will be able to watch it. It doesn't matter what music it is. Just play it in the background. Like if I started playing music in the background of this right now, this video, the entire playthrough that I just did now, would be blocked worldwide. Also, I put up, I did the intro to Need for Speed Payback. And I did it because I got a bunch of people saying, you know, well, you pirated games or anything else. Well, I had this video up before the game was even cracked. I own the game, not that I had to prove anything. But that's why I put a video up of saying, stop asking me if I own a legitimate copy of this game. So what happened is I put it up. I did the entire intro of the game. And I look over and somebody had copyright claimed it. So I deleted the video. Yeah, so, like, right now, technically, they can do whatever that they want, because it is their stuff. Now, in the terms of service or whatever else it is, or if you have permission, even with permission, they can say, you know, I don't want you using, you know, they can give you permission and then take it back anytime that they want. That's, somebody who owns intellectual property or owns the rights to something can do whatever, they can change their mind instantly. It pisses people off, and they shouldn't be doing that because it's bad for business, but it's perfectly legal to do. But what's not legal to do is to claim copyright on something you don't own. Like I said, I mean, if somebody owns music, if somebody created their own music and put it on their channel, and then the YouTube Content ID claim system strikes their own music, that's a problem, because how can the Content ID claim system copyright strike something you made and you own? And then if you know, and then to prove that you own it and then have the copyright claim upheld is something's broken in the system. That's why I said nobody ever confronts YouTube on any of these panels with this particular information. Yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about that. It's one thing if the person, like, you could get permission from the person to use the music. That would be one thing. So if the person gives you permission to do it, and then they go back and, you know, they go back on their word to do it, then you got a problem, because they're just being stupid at that point. But if somebody who has the if somebody who doesn't own the music is trying to copyright it, then that's fraud. All right. Anyway, hey, I'm gonna head off on this. All right, man. And I will talk to you later. I'll be back on a little later. I'll be doing the exact same thing as, you know, getting the question marks and things done. So it was nice talking to you. Like I said, I'll be back on in about an hour or so. I just got to take a break. All right, later, buddy.